This is Rockslapping Champions. Player 1, playing Stukov, we have Kagayaga. And player 2, playing Abathur, we have Customizator. It's a very interesting name, kind of a pretty cool name actually. But let's have a look at the masteries while the players do get set up. We have Stukov, who is playing at level 533 Ascension, going for the Volatile Infested Spawn Chance, Apocalypse Cooldown, and the Infantry Duration Mastery. So we should be expecting some kind of infantry-based build here, given that no mech attack speed has been selected. For Abathur, we have the Toxic Nest damage, the Symbiote ability, and then a 10-20 split into the Toxic Nest charges and Morphe Evolution. Right? Pretty much optimal selections here for Abathur as well. One of the common mistakes that people normally go for is going for the double biomass, but you can see Abathur seems to know what they are doing here, or so it seems. So we can see that Abathur has already put down a bunch of Toxic Nests, and is there going to be a unit that'll be there for early luring? There are a few random Toxic Nests put all over this area, which is probably not very ideal given the fact that you need these Toxic Nests to farm your biomass, but this is a plan for Abathur. Now, additionally, you will see that we have a bunch of mutators active on this mission. We have Going Nuclear, we have Orbital Strike, and we have Long Range. So this looks like it is a Brutal +1 difficulty game. I think it's a Brutal +1 difficulty. Doesn't seem too bad. But Going Nuclear is probably going to be one of the more annoying mutators that will be available on this map. And the reason why is because Going Nuclear actually tends to favor your units and target your units if you are outside the mutator safety zones. Now, I can't remember what the mutator safety zones on this mission look like. I think this whole area is basically safe. So I don't think nukes can even hit in this small transition area between the main base and this. I think this whole, like, it just makes a little, you know, kind of a snowman shape. I think that is kind of safe. I'm not really sure. Check out starcraft.com if you want to know where these mutator safety zones look like. But so Abathur's Toxic Nest will basically be okay. We can see that Stukov is already starting to rally some of Infestador. We can see there are a few nukes that are just slowly trimming near the edge of this, but I think it should be more or less okay. You can see he's infested now. I'm going to start clearing out the first construct that is guarding the first objective area. Abathur has basically produced 6 roaches so far. I can find 4 of these roaches. Where are the other guys? Okay, the other 2 are over here, and now you should be going to try and get some biomass pickups here. And one of the things you should be doing as Abathur is in the early stage of the game, start luring with the construct, start getting these units out to pick off some of the defending units to just pick up some of the extra biomass here, but that does not seem to be Abathur's plan. His roaches are getting targeted here by the orbital strikes. He's going to be moving out of the way and taking out these roaches manually without using the Toxic Nests, and therefore he's not going to be able to get his biomass as quickly as possible, and therefore not be able to get his Brutalist out. Roaches is just going to go exploring this little beacon, looking for the construct, which does not exist because it was cleared out by Abathur's Apocalypse. And where are his roaches going? I think he's just going to go and try and pick up some more of the biomass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to Abathur's point of view to make it a little bit easier to see where the biomass balls are. And now his roaches are basically attacking this one gateway, which might not be a wise idea. Okay, he has realized it, and he's going to be moving his roaches out of the way before the thing just goes kaboom. So I'm just going to take this off as well. And yeah, so I think this first objective is done and good to go. There is a capacity a little bit too close, but Stukov is well aware of what the damage ranges are, and he is going to basically be taking pretty much a perfect expansion right there. He is not going to be wasting any time in getting his expansion up and running, and this is really important for Stukov play. Stukov is a really slow commander. It takes him a while to ramp up, so the sooner you get your mineral line established, your expansion cleared up, and mining, the better off you will be throughout the course of the game. You can see that there is an attack wave that is over here, but there is a Stukov bunker. He'll be more than happy to handle this first attack wave. You can see already there are a bunch of broodlings that are also being spawned from the infested. So these upgrades, very, very important. The broodling gestation and the anaerobic enhancement upgrade just provide such a big power spike for Stukov. Abathur, sending his roaches over here, picks up most of the biomass balls, but there's still one more biomass ball that is not picked up, and there's, I think, 5 biomass in that little pickup there that has not been picked up. But the other thing that I've noticed is that Abathur is not actually stacking his biomass onto a single roach. He's just moving all of the roaches right into the middle, and whichever roach is basically picks up the biomass is basically free for all, which you want to stack your biomass up onto one single roach at a time. So you can see he's picked up a total of 182 biomass, which means he should have at least one Brutal Scout, and he doesn't really seem to have that either. He's just going for the Hydro-Ionic Bile upgrades, so maybe he wants to do a mass roach build. But usually you want to put your biomass onto a single roach, and that was probably one of the rare situations where this might have been a good idea, because he did not have a Brutalist. And Abathur basically loses all of his roaches in one single nuke. It ends up hitting his instant army over there that have still not done really much in the game. So Abathur now has been reset to 0 army supply, so he is in... what is he going to be producing? He's producing 2 more roaches right now for out of the hatchery, and he's already taken this expansion, which is really good as well. He's a slight oversaturation, but that's not really too big of a deal. These drones are going to be okay as well. And yeah, we have basically 2 roaches out, and I think this might result in his first Brutalist, just purely because the going nuclear mutator nuked all of his roaches, and he may have stacked enough biomass into that one ball over there for pickup. So we'll see what Abathur is going to be doing here. There's one roach random here, just sitting, waiting for his buddies to come up and join the fray. And what will he be doing now? Units wise, he has a total of 9 roaches out, so I can count. That is basically what, 9 roaches? Yeah, those are 5, but those are 8. Yeah, 9 roaches over here. Counting is difficult while I'm trying to live gas the game, but there's another attack wave that promptly gets handled by Stukov, and the second objective has also been cleared, while Abathur, with his army of roaches, are just chilling near the ramp here, and he's not gonna go pick up the biomass ball. Okay, that's fine. Abathur picks up the first one, skips this one that's in between the 2 bunkers. So the biomass pickups are just a fleeting thought for Abathur. He is uninterested. He's going to be going for his mass roach build, and the roaches are going to be struggling a little bit here. There are disruptors, there are void rays, there are skill rays, and there are actually 2 disruptors here, and there might actually be a bunch of dark templars. Purification Noah's right on top of the roaches. A few more roaches end up dying. And now Abathur decides to retreat just a little bit behind his ally, letting his ally push through, because Abathur has realized this may not be a very wise idea. Overall, Abathur has lost a total of 16 roaches so far, and now there is going to be a drop attack that will be harassing these 2 artifact trucks, which might be a problem for both of these commanders, but both these commanders do not really have much of an army to be able to hold the drop attack. As you can see, the orbital strikes going down, and now Abathur has added a couple of queens to help these roaches out, but there is a lot of damage output here from Amon's army, and Amon's army is just going to start wrecking. And there's a biomass ball right there that's not being picked up by the roaches, because, okay, there we go. As one roach has picked up now pretty good chunk of the biomass here. Again, still no Brutalist for Abathur. Abathur wants to try and push in a little bit more. Another biomass gets picked up by another one of these roaches, which means still no Brutalist for Abathur. And now we have an Apocalypse that gets put down here for these 2 commanders, but now there's going to be another drop attack, and Abathur is going to be moving out of the way again, retreating behind his artifact truck to try and deal with this drop attack. And this drop attack should be able to be handled reasonably okay, but again, lots of biomass on the ground, still no biomass stacks. This roach is pretty much already good to go. It's just a little bit more biomass and he'll get his first Brutal Scout. There's a pullback on the artifact truck for Stukov, just to try and keep the artifact truck alive. And now we have another bunch of orbital strikes, and there is no moving out of the way by the roaches until... oh, there was just a little bit of a dodge there, and that keeps some more of Abathur's roaches alive. And now there's also a queen, and now Abathur has gotten his first Brutal Scout at the 12-minute and 40-second mark. And this Brutalist is going to signify a reasonable increase in Abathur's pushing potential. These Brutalists can actually do a lot of damage as long as you're paying attention to what Amon's army is doing, and making sure the Brutalist is not taking too much damage. They are reasonably tanky, but they are not invincible. As a result of the recent Abathur nerfs that have been applied to the Brutalist here, we have another Disruptor with a Purification Nova. Disruptor does not know where to go and ends up getting caught out by Stukov's army. There's another Disruptor here. I believe there are also a bunch of Dark Templars that will be sitting in this base here. I think they just basically sit just right at the back here, and you can see Abathur's army is basically taking a hammering right now. There's 2 Brutalists out. That one Brutalist is getting a little bit too low on HP, sitting at about 300 shell, 250 shell, and 50 HP. Moves out of the way try and dodge these orbital strikes, but I think there is a Dark Templar over there, and that is basically the end of one of those Brulisks. And now there's another drop attack here. Lots of Zealots just attacking that one Brulist. They get a surround onto that Brulist, dealing a good amount of damage, but the Brulist is able to clear out that Zealot army very, very quickly. And 2 Brulisks out right now, and I think all that is left is for this artifact truck to move a little bit forward and pick up the rest of this objective. So that objective is going to be cleared, and now we basically have Abathur, who has lost basically 1 Brulist, 2 Queens, and 51 Roaches in that whole engage. That was basically a slugfest for Abathur. A lot of Roaches were killed off as a result of that. And Stukov has already started to push through with his Infested towards the next side. So Abathur sitting right now at a total of 15 Roaches and 2 Brulisks. He will be moving where? There is a small attack wave that is coming up here, but is Abathur going to engage us? There are a bunch of Phoenixes here, and Oracle's going full Disco Inferno onto some of these Roaches. But these Roaches should be able to clear out the ground forces of this army, and they are going to end up dodging the nuke. Abathur, a little bit confused as to where to go. He is going to get his artifact truck completely wiped by the Immortals that are in that location, but Abathur is going to be helping his army as well, starting to push through a little bit, minus his artifact truck. Artifact truck does end up going down, and now Abathur's army basically has nothing to disable a construct, but he's going to keep pushing through regardless. He's going to troop through. It doesn't really matter if he has a truck or no, his army is just going to push through and just soldier on until the end of the game. And ally artifact truck comes in, disables the construct, and now the rest of these Roaches are going to be trying to push through into this air-centric base. Where's Abathur going? Abathur is not... He's getting surrounded by the orbital strikes here, which is okay. Does he want to actually push up? Some more Roaches get picked up by the orbital strikes as well. And now Abathur is pushing into the wrong base here, and there are a bunch... I think there are a bunch of Reavers at the back as well. Reaver and Tempest decide to push back, and I think Abathur, what does he actually wants to push through, and now he's going to get flanked by Amon's army. Amon's army is right on the back of his Roaches here, and now there are a bunch of Brulisks as well that are pushing on the front line, and now there is a huge nuke here. Is he going to move? A lot of those Roaches end up going down as a result of that nuke, and that basically meant Abathur gets pushed back towards the right area to push into, and one more Brutalisk ends up falling. A total of 77 Roaches have died, and 2 Brutalisks right now. Abathur continues to soldier on, continues to push through, and now there's a Hybrid Dominator there that is not getting focus fire down by Abathur, so it's going to end up getting all of its skills off and getting a lot of value for its energy, and get another Plasma Blast, and that's basically, that Hybrid Dominator has basically used up all of its energy. It's sitting at 0 energy right now. That's pretty much full effectiveness for Amon, and lots of orbital strikes end up going down. Another Brutalisk ends up getting picked off as a result of the drop attack, plus the nuke here. Brutalisk fighting a little bit too close to the nuke, but that doesn't really matter because then the Brutalisk ends up getting nuked anyway. Another Brutalisk ends up spawning and is just getting harassed by these interceptors here, and also ends up getting picked off by Amon's army, and that is basically a full wipeout for Abathur. Another Brutalisk ends up spawning right on top of the nuke over there and ends up almost getting wiped, and now the Oracle is going to end up finishing this Brutalisk off as well. A total of 6 Brutalisks have died and 94 Roaches, and still nothing inside, and these Roaches might also end up getting picked off. One more end up getting picked off by the nuke over in this location, and I think these Roaches are not paying attention, and they may also end up getting lost by the nuke there. That one Roach is like, ouch, that kind of hurt. And indeed, it did hurt. There is a total of 101 Roaches dead, and there's a little bit of a harass here by Amon, a multi-pronged attack. And it was probably from the artifact truck that Abathur has still not moved out of the way, so he has to end up trying to deal with this drop attack in this location, and I think he'll be able to clear this one with a wipeout. But again, at what cost? Abathur has lost so much of his army right now, and a few more nukes ending up getting dropped onto Stukov's army. There's a lot of carnage right now. The good thing is the Broodlings do not end up getting counted as a unit that ends up getting counted as a unit lost, so I can't actually see how many Broodlings were lost in that process. Now Abathur has rebuilt another small army and attack force to try and deal with this construct, but this construct is not getting disabled by Abathur's truck because the Abathur's truck is not in the appropriate location just yet. But then finally that ends up getting picked up, and I think there's just a few more constructs, a few more army units here. Abathur charges in, tries to take out this Hybrid Dominator, which he promptly does, and there's another truck in this location trying to disable this construct. This construct will end up getting picked off as well. A few more orbital strikes right on top of these roaches. And again, a lot more losses here. And there's another nuke here which may end up picking off some of these roaches. There's another nuke on the back there. Abathur is now paying attention. He's realizing these nukes are a little bit painful. A few more roaches jump right into the nuke as well, right at the edge of the nuke. But that is basically the last construct that needs to be cleared out by these two commanders. And I think that is basically the rest of the mission done. A total of 109 roaches, 2 queens, and 6 brulisks have given their lives for Abathur. And where did the truck get picked off? I think the truck got picked off, and now there are a bunch of skill rays over here dealing a lot of damage to Abathur's ground army. And I think that should be basically it though. 114 roaches and 6 brulisks so far have died. That's basically going to be the artifact truck right in position, and those are all of Mobius's facilities destroyed, and that is GG.